Hello, my name is Serrano Keith Baldio, and welcome to Texas Justice Review. Here's what's happening tomorrow, August 13, 2025. There was a hearing before Judge Stacey Williams. She issued an order, a court order, warning that no one is to hold me in contempt. No one is to try to sell my house. No one is trying to issue any kind of arrest or contempt or anything like that, or sell my property, blah, blah. And that order was sent to my Victoria Warner, who's the defendant in this case. And it was also sent to Michael Snipes' people. And I say his people because he's family court. Family court only deals with distribution of property, kids, money. But he has been using the courtroom as a weapon. He has been using his courtroom to target me because he's angry. No law, just target me. So what I did was I filed a bankruptcy on a order that he issued that I vacate my property on June 25th. I filed my bankruptcy in the morning, and that bankruptcy seized his order and anything that they have to do against me. Bankruptcy law prohibits any action against the person, their property, or anything else, eviction, removing them from their property to sell it, anything that they do. Bankruptcy federal law stops him on June 25th. So they didn't do anything to me from June 25th to July 23rd. And July 23rd, the bankruptcy court sends back the property and says, and you guys can go fight over it over there. There's no equity in it. And because there's no equity in it, they can't keep it in bankruptcy court. The trustee says the same thing. You have deemed the property exempt. And because it's exempt, nobody can sell it to make money off of it or pay off bills or debts. But what he did is he had Whitney Green, an attorney, my ex, Stacey Baldio, and a whole bunch of other people get involved. And when the case came back, they issued a hearing for me on August 1st. And what they did was they withheld that they were going to arrest me. They withheld that from me. They did not tell me. When you're going to arrest somebody, you inform them you must show up to be arrested and you have to bring an attorney with you. He lied and withheld that from me, including the lawyers who were involved, Whitney Green and anybody else. So I went to Judge Gina Slaughter, who I was going to do a story on. And Gina Slaughter was in full defense of him and two other judges, Martin Hoffman and Maria Chavez. I was going to do a story on that. There's a canon rule that they can't cross-send cases to one another. There is another law that says you cannot send cases from one judge to another. You have to recuse yourself, send it to the chief judge then send it to him. None of that happened. Law breaking number one going on in the judicial system. I researched those laws and I was going to do the Gina case to show that. So I went to Gina Slaughter and I said, and Stacey Williams at the same time, because they both have cases that involves my property. They both. He already took everything. He took $800,000, concealed that money and gave it to my ex, concealed $400,000 in 401k, concealed her bonuses, concealed 3 cats, which I found out she ended up killing one of them or they died. So he did all of that. Now he wants the property. But there's a problem. It's in bankruptcy court, right? But because the bankruptcy court released it, you can't continue in the cases. You can only continue in the as far as the property is concerned. So I went to Gina Slaughter and I asked her to sign this motion, just a simple order, asking them not to take any action before she hears what they're trying to do to me. And she knew, because I told her they're trying to evict me. She admitted they cannot evict you. They cannot do that. Okay, if you know they cannot evict me, and I'm telling you they're going to try to do it and put me in jail, then sign the order so you can hear it first. All kind of excuses. Talking about she knows that the house is for sale. Well, how do you know the house is for sale? Who were you talking to? Was this ex parte communication? So anyway, I filed this with Gina Slaughter. She refused. I just did some history on her, find out she's like that. She lets case run out. There's 3 state judicial complaint on her. So anyway, Judge Stacey Williams, I went to her and she signed an order. And the order is you cannot The same thing with Gina. She didn't sign it, but Judge Stacey Williams signed it. She wants to hear about the house, the property, everything else, because it's in her courtroom. That's what a good judge does. If they want to arrest you and evict you and they're not supposed to do that, and you have a bankruptcy on that thing, and it's deemed whatever, I want to hear what they're going to do to you. So I notified everybody. Judge Stacey Williams signed this order. I notified him. I notified the attorneys. I notified my ex. I was notified the defendant, Victoria Warner, in her case. You cannot take any action against me until it comes on August 13th hearing before Stacey Williams. What do? They ignored her. We don't care about your order. And they still proceeded to try and arrest me. Now, I'm a faithful man to God, and somehow I always show up. Even though he was doing illegal stuff, I always show up. But that day, God prevented me from going to that courtroom. I did not know that they had 2 sheriff officers waiting to arrest me, even though Judge Stacey Williams told them, you cannot hold him in contempt. You cannot do these things. They still had Whitney Green, my ex, Stacey Balgio, and a whole bunch of other them I'm going to talk about in a second. Victoria Warner, she's part of the case over there too. They were waiting to arrest me. By the grace of God and God alone, I didn't get to go. And then I found out they had already sent out this arrest warrant for me to incarcerate me for 6 months in jail and hold me until they sell the house. Didn't Judge Stacey Williams send you an order not to do that? So here's what they did. They're very clever. So they filed a motion to dissolve Judge Stacey Williams' temporary order. Well, first of all, Whitney Green from Carrington and Coleman, you cannot come into the case without filing a notice of appearance. I think it's called Rule 8A. And in Rule 8A, you cannot file, let's see if I have it right here, unauthorized appearance, Texas Rule of Civil Procedures 8. There's a bankruptcy in place still. The only thing that Judge Stacey authorized was the sale of the house. It shall not be sold. You cannot hold him in contempt. That house is what she was trying to protect because it's part of her case. Just like Gina Slaughter is part of your case. You've got to protect your case. You've got to protect the plaintiff's right and the defendant's right. Nobody can touch your case. And by the way, Victoria Warner is in default. She tried to dismiss her case. And she also, as well, last week filed another motion to dismiss in a bankruptcy stay, which is a violation of federal law. So they're not listening to the law. They don't care about the law. Judge Stacey Williams, she cares about the law. And that's why she's doing things by the book. So what they did tonight, before the hearing, is they filed a motion or a letter, brief to the court regarding withdrawing our motion to dissolve the temporary restraining order. They first violated Judge Stacey's temporary order and had the sheriff there to arrest me. That didn't go down well for them. It didn't happen. So now they're trying to move to phase 2. If Judge Stacey Williams ruled on their motion for dissolve the temporary order and denied it, that's kind of screwed them up. So that's why they did this. They're very slick. They did this motion tonight. Unfortunately, it's signed by Whitney Kelcher Green. Whitney Kelcher Green does not have an appearance in this case. She does not represent Victoria Warner. Victoria Warner, aka doing business as Rowlett Law, is the only defendant. There is no application by Whitney Green to make an appearance in this case, but yet she files this. And here's what the filing said. It says Sharon Cortinas. She files it. That's not Victoria Warner. Victoria Warner is the only one that could respond here. And Victoria Warner's response was a motion to dismiss, which violates the bankruptcy. And it talks about us, and it says Keith Baldio, and it says other service not associated with the party of the case, then you cannot file without doing a notice of appearance. You can't do it. Sharon Contes, Whitney Green, Anna Long. So they inserted themselves in this case without a notice of appearance. I pulled the law. And here's what it says. It says that, Texas Rule of Civil Procedure 8. If Whitney Green did not file a notice of appearance in the Warner case, her August 12 filing could be challenged as unauthorized practice of law in a specific area. Okay? She needed to file a notice of appearance in the case with Judge Williams. So now she's representing Victoria Warner. She didn't do that, so she's violated the law. In addition to that, the property is part of the bankruptcy estate. Any action relating to enforcing orders or possession, sale, or turnover during the sale is prohibited. Filing documents that advance the sale or enforcement in any venue violates the stay. So, but the stay is lifted, right? So I give them that. But they can't do it. Only Victoria Warner can do it, right? So here's the grounds for contempt. There was a valid, clear court order from Judge Stacey Williams, not like Snipes. The violation by Judge Snipes and Whitney Green and my ex Stacey Ballio is two. Number one, June 25th, the bankruptcy is still in stay even though the house came back. And it is still for the house. And that's why they couldn't arrest me on June 25th. That didn't go away when the house came back to be negotiated on. That's still there. So to say we're going to go back and retroactively get him for the June 25th where he was supposed to leave, that violates federal law. Now what they could have done is said, look, you missed, we can't go back in that because you're still protected, right? We're going to do a new date for you to leave, and if you don't leave by that date, then we're going to put you in jail. That's the legal way to do it. They went back and violated my federal rights to go back on June 25th. He was barred from doing that. They were barred from doing that. Number two, there was a court order telling all of them, before you take any action on Keith Serrano Ballio, I want to hear this in August. They also said, we don't care about that. We don't care about federal law, that's still standing. We don't care about the court order from Judge Stacey Williams. We're just going to go ahead and arrest them because we're bullies. We are above the law. We can do whatever we want. And that's what they have been doing to me for almost a year. Bullying me, having me oppressed, bondage in that courtroom, chained with no law to help me. And that's why I sued them for fraud in Judge Slater and Judge Williams' courtroom. He doesn't do fraud. He's only doing distribution of property. So why is he getting in all of this? Because he's looking to target me because he's pissed off at me. Pissed off at me is not a law, right? So the attorney had knowledge of the order. I sent them, every one of them, Judge Stacey Williams' order. The filing itself refers to a temporary restraining order scheduled injunction hearing. So this is clear to them. There was a hearing tomorrow. They still violated her order. After they violated her order, then they came and said, you know what, we want to dissolve that temporary restraining order after you violated it. After you violated it. Now you want to say, yeah, we want to, so the horse before the carriage here. That's what they're trying to do. So now they're trying to pull back on their order that they want to rescind their motion to dissolve the temporary order. The motion to dissolve the temporary order should have been filed with Judge Stacey Williams before they violated her order. They should have filed, hey, can we dissolve this? And here's the reason we want to dissolve it. And she would have said no. She would have said there was a hearing on August 13th. If you want, you have to file a notice of appearance to represent Victoria Warner because she's my only defendant here. And if you don't do that, I can't hear you. And if you're filing anything other than what relates to my order and you want to do it, you can't do it because there's still a bankruptcy in place. I give an order concerning the property because the property came back. That's why. So they're doing all kind of stuff, right? And anyway, they willingly violated her order by making a filing in a related case and attempting to influence and undermine Judge Stacey Williams' temporary order before the 14th expiration. So here's what they want to do. They want Judge Stacey Williams to, tomorrow, on the 18th, to do away with the TRO. So they can do exactly what the bankruptcy court did. They can come back and then arrest me again. That's what they want to do. That's why they wanted to dismiss her TRO. But now they're in trouble. Now they're in trouble because they inserted themselves and violated the court order. And all the people that violated that court order is right in what they sent to Judge Stacey. The person that violated the court order was Victoria G. Warner. It was Stacey M. Baldio, Sharon Cortinez, Whitney Green, Anna Long. All the people that got involved to violate Judge Stacey's court order are now in her courtroom. They are now part of this case. So now what Judge Stacey Williams have to do is she has to say, look, you are now part of this case by violating my court order. So I am going to leave the court order in place, and you have to be punished. Because just remember, Michael Snipes said, I violated his June 25th court order. And they specifically went after June 25th. And what they didn't realize is the bankruptcy stay, even though the house came back, never got lifted. It's still in place. June 25th to July 23rd are still immunity I have. So they're trying to dismiss my immunity while it was effective. It is still effective. So he violated that. He violated my immunity and issued a court order after Judge Stacey's court order. He had no respect for her. So now we're doing a motion to recuse him and go after him. God has been waiting for this guy. God has been waiting for his big mistake, and this is it. So they want to now circumvent and manipulate Judge Stacey Williams' court order. But Judge Stacey Williams does this thing by the books. I don't know how they're going to get past her. They said I violated his court order, which was wrong because I'm still protected on June 25th, and issued a Cypress or something to have me arrested with the sheriff department. They even filed and paid for the constables to have me arrested on an illegal order for me to be arrested, banned by Judge Stacey Williams and banned by the bankruptcy court, because June 25th I still have immunity. So they just don't care. This is what they're doing. So we're going to clean this up before Judge Stacey, right? They will be violent. If the temporary order specifically prohibited any action to interfere with the property case or scheduled hearing, the August 12th filing may qualify as contempt because it was a substantive filing referring to another judge's order to justify action against you. It was made in the middle of a TRO effective period and a bankruptcy protective period. So he can be held in contempt for violating the bankruptcy law and going back to June 25th. He can be held, and the rest of them as well, not just him. I'm going to keep him away from Judge Stacey Williams because I want to deal with him separately. But all the other filing was signed by my ex-wife, Stacey Baldio. She signed off on all the things. Get him, put him in jail, take the house, sell it. What did I do to this woman? Nothing. But for a year, she's been signing everything to target me, getting these help from these attorneys, manipulating the process. They lied and they said I had a vexatious claim when all the 4 claims came out of their courtroom. And guess which was one of the vexatious claims? The one for Gina Slaughter and the one for Stacey Williams that is still active. They're saying it's vexatious. So they've been manipulating the process to get me because they think nobody else is going to care. But it'd be interesting tomorrow to see what happened. So there's an unauthorized appearance, there's a bankruptcy stay in violation, there's an inappropriate interference and abuse of process. References another judge's court, which is Snipes' August 1st order, in a way that undermined Judge Stacey Williams' injunction can be argued as an abuse of process. This is what they're doing. They're trying to manipulate Judge Stacey's order by confusing it. First they violate her order. Then they want to come back and dismiss a TRO with their motion to dissolve their TRO. Well, first of all, you can't take a gun and shoot the person and say, oh, by the way, do I get the right to shoot this person? No, you have to ask first, do I get the right to shoot this person? Yeah, because, they're on the run and they're criminal and they're dangerous, then you shoot them. But what they did was they took the shot at me, they took me out, they had me deemed for arrest, they never served me on that. And they cannot file in this case. Anything Whitney Green filed in this case. And I give credit to the clerks of Judge Stacey Williams, because when Victoria Warner last week filed a motion, Victoria Warner, by the way, is my ex's first attorney and still attorney on her case. Whitney Green is her additional attorney, so now she's got a whole bunch of attorneys. But they have manipulated him, but he doesn't care. He just wants me dead or put in jail for revenge. But now the case is outside the manipulation, the violation of all my civil rights. It's in a new court. Judge Gina Slater, I will deal with her differently, but I find out I'm not the only one she's been setting aside. There's been 3 filings that she's doing that to other people. This is where the standoff is. So Judge Stacey Williams have to tell them, I don't care what he does. I don't care. And she's already like that. I don't care what another judge does. This is my courtroom. This is what I do, because the last time I was before Judge Stacey Williams, I kind of mentioned something about Maria Aceves, some denial or something. She says, I don't care what happened in that courtroom. I care what happens in my courtroom. I've been here for more than 11 years. So that's a plus for justice. So what we're going to ask now is that the contempt that we have, a real contempt. We have a genuine contempt. He circumvent bankruptcy law. He's in violation of that. He's in violation of her court order. He got service. I served all of them. I CC'd all of them. Judge Stacey Williams issued this order. And he knows she's a district court judge. He knows that this is a judge that ran for the chief position of the appeals court, which is one of the highest positions you could ever get. And he still told her, I don't care. But I know Judge Stacey Williams. My experience before is, I don't care what another judge. You violate my court order, the unfair justice that you try to put this guy in jail is the same justice they have to get. So I did some other writing. If Judge Williams ruled that their emergency motion to dissolve the TRO and denied it, here's why they did this tonight, to rescind it. That would be a clear court order that they violated and tried to undermine her temporary order protection. By withdrawing, they sidestepped the risk of a formal denial and instead walk away without the adverse ruling on paper. That's why they came tonight, the night before, and this was a late filing. Let's see, what time did they file it? 9:30 p.m. The hearing is 12 o'clock tomorrow. I'm not supposed to see this, right? It's supposed to, when you file something, it takes 3 days for a motion when you file it for me to respond, right? So I don't know if Judge Stacey Williams is going to give me a 3-day response, but the hearing is tomorrow. They want it dissolved. They want a motion to dissolve because they knew if Stacey Williams ruled on their motion to deny it, they're in trouble. They're going to be in a lot of trouble. But it doesn't matter. All Judge Stacey has to do is say, I issued an order from my court to all of you that's been manipulating him for a whole year, strip him of all his rights, take away all his money, left him penniless, which violates family law 50/50 code. This law, and this came before me as a fraud case, a violation of his civil rights, an attorney violation, misconduct, malice, negligence, which he can't rule over. Only the district court can rule over that. He's stuck with just property division. But he's trying to pretend he's a district court judge, trying to override her superior powers. So now she's got him. She doesn't need to dismiss or deny the action for their TRO, which means she can still do that. So I'm going to make sure a motion to do that. But she can do is to say, you violated my court order. I specifically ask you to do that, not to do it. And you did it. So how about I just let all of you go? But you didn't let him go in family court. You knew he had rights 50/50. You knew he had rights 50/50 to that property. That property is 50/50 his. So how is it you're trying to sell the property, take his 50, pay for your attorney's fee, and give him nothing? This is the fraud he came to me with. You're defrauding him and breaking the law. That's why this is in this courtroom. Through the attorney. She is the one who implemented the fraud. She's the one who perpetrated with my ex. And my ex is in Stacey Williams' courtroom, but not as a defendant, but as a co-conspirator. So she's involved. So that's what they're trying to do to Judge Stacey Williams, to manipulate her. So she has to say, everything you did to him over there is now in my court. All the abuse he has suffered is before me. But you're trying to get the house, and the only thing that I have before me now is what you did to this house. You took everything else away. But that's in the gigantic case. So what could happen now? Here's what happened in the bankruptcy court. In the bankruptcy court, they gave Michael Snipes the right to come back and us to fight over the house because of his order. but they're holding all the cases. I did an emergency order to release the case. They're holding it for him so my wife and I can sell the house. Holding it. So here's what's going to happen. Since the house is involved in the totality of my case, all Judge Stacey has to say, okay, I'm going to sign Mr. Baldio's order that you violated the court order, and the same justice which he never got. He should have never been arrested, never ordered to arrest him, because you violated my order and the bankruptcy code, where he never violated the June 25th order because it was exempt from bankruptcy. 2 things he didn't do and 2 things you punished him for illegally. But in my courtroom, I did a clear order not to hold him in contempt, not to go after his property. And you did that. You violated a clear order that has nothing against the order, neither time nor jurisdiction or anything. So I'm going to hold them in contempt and see if the law is going to be equal. I was never supposed to be put in jail. I was never supposed to be 6 months in jail that we're going to hold. If I had showed up that morning on August 1st, the 2 sheriff officers would have held me and handcuffed me, processed me, and I would have been sitting in jail and doing this video, if I could, in jail, talking to Judge Williams in jail, and she would have said to me in jail, didn't I issue a court order that you are not to be in contempt or arrested? Yes, Judge. Then why are you in jail? They violated your order, saying I violated his order when his order was barred by your order and the bankruptcy court on June 25th stay. And now she's going to have to be pissed off. But nonetheless, my name is under being arrested in the court system in the jail when Judge Williams told him not to do that. I could be arrested anytime. The only reason that I'm not arrested right now is because I sent the jail and I sent everybody a copy of Judge Williams' order. I sent them what they did after. I wrote a letter and I said they are in contempt of this, and if you arrest me, Judge Stacey Williams is constituting an order for them not to have done this. That's the only reason I'm sitting here doing this video with you, is because I used her order to say she told them not to do so, and they still did it. So they probably looked at that and they probably say, you know what, he's right. This was an order not to get this contempt, and we have it as a contempt. Even though the judge signed it after, he wasn't supposed to. He was barred from doing this. The people that submitted this illegally against this judge's order. Now, here's number 2. Using a withdrawal letter as a vehicle. The withdrawal letter itself is not neutral. It is written in a way that injects Snipes' August 1st order into your civil fraud Warner case. This is key. Makes a record in the court where they aren't counsel of the record. So this is how they're trying to sneak themselves to be the counsel of the record, right? To influence the future hearing. Essentially advertising the family court order to Judge Stacey Williams as if they override her temporary restraining order. These are the tricks that this lawyer, I have caught all these lawyers lying and doing trickery, right? Signaling they still intend to appear, right? Why? Notice that Whitney Green's letter says, my office still intends to make a limited appearance on August 3rd. Well, you can't do that. Okay, the Zoom thing was sent to me and Whitney, and we're going to address you. You don't have to appear. You're going to appear after you get arrested before judge. That's how this works. After Judge Williams signed my arrest for them, as he illegally signed mine, then they have to show up before her. To her, not on the August 13th order. That's only me and Whitney, Victoria Warner. And then when she finds out her co-conspirators did this, she's still part of that case. They even sent that she's still part of the case because she's trying to say, I'm no longer part of the case. Yes, you are. Your name is on it. And these are just your helpers. All right. So that's what they're trying to do. This is not a full retreat. It's saying, we're not asking the temporary order be dissolved anymore, avoiding direct contempt risk. Very important. That's how smart they are. But we'll still show up to argue, bring with us Snipes' order as Exhibit C and D, which they filed, but the clerks are not supposed to accept it. This cannot go before the judge. This cannot go before Judge Williams. She can't listen to that. She can only listen to one thing. Did I issue a court order? Yes. Did they violate it? Yes. Who violated? Whitney Green, Stacey Baldio, Victoria Warner, Sharon, whatever, and that. Okay, for violating this court order, here is my contempt order, and she's going to sign whatever I send her tonight. Okay, by removing their argument to another case, Warner, they might try to create a cross record with Snipes, ruling they are considered judicial notice, confuse or pressure Judge Williams into thinking his temporary order is in conflict with another judge's order. Judge Snipes didn't rule that my order to arrest him for the June 25th violation to leave the house was in conflict with bankruptcy court, because the bankruptcy court gave me immunity in that whole month period. You can go forward, but you can't go back in that period. He didn't talk about conflict. They didn't talk about conflict. They also didn't talk about, well, me rule, even a judge issued an order that you guys can't bring this to me. It will be in conflict with the judge's order. They didn't consider that. They didn't care to consider that. He just wanted to get me. My ex just wanted to get me. Victoria Warren, they just wanted to get me, put me in jail, discredit me, and then by the time we get to Judge Stacey Williams, yeah, he's in jail, we got him in jail. And that's what she's supposed to say. You're not supposed to get him in jail because I have a court order prohibiting you from doing that. And even so, now you have his name in the jail system. You filed his name to be arrested in the jail system. He's running for his life. He's worried, scared, day after day coming into his house. If the sheriff is just going to ignore that, like he ignored it and the rest of them ignored it, arrest him anyway, because that's what they've been doing. They've been doing this stuff despite the law anyway, despite any family law, 50-50 of that house or all the property is mine anyway. They can't defraud me, and they've been defrauding me. The case is in a neutral ground. And I'm hoping tomorrow that Judge Stacey Williams tell them, I don't care what's going on over there. I don't care how you manipulate or what you do. In my courtroom, if I issue an order and you fail to follow that order, here is the repercussions of that. And that's what we're hoping to happen tomorrow. This is Serrano. I'm going to come back and tell you what's going to happen after. I'm going to file some things tonight, and it's already, I think it's 11 o'clock. And I've got to send this out on social media and other places. Thanks for watching, and we're going to just see if the court is equal. Is the court equal? It won't even be equal, because this guy didn't even have jurisdiction under bankruptcy June 25th. Voided his order. Voided that I violated anything else. If it was in effect, he would have been, if he wanted to, he could arrest me anytime between June 25th and July 3rd. Not because the house come back, you can retroactive go and violate the bankruptcy federal law. But he did it because he thinks I'm stupid. I don't know the law. Judge Stacey Williams is stupid. She doesn't know that he had no jurisdiction there. She's foolish. She has no jurisdiction. She doesn't care about her court order. I don't care. And this is what they said. We're going to go ahead with this. They knew that Judge Williams ordered this. And they said, we're going to go ahead with it anyway. What if he has an order now for me, a vexatious person, with the same Judge Williams case and Judge Slater's case, ongoing, but he used it for vexatious? If I went and filed a new lawsuit, he will send the constables to my house to arrest me because he issued an order. Judge Williams issued an order that trumps both his violation of his order. And he should have told Stacey Balgio, Whitney Green, Victoria Warner, I just received a court order from a district court judge that we ought not to attempt to arrest him or evict him, and I can't violate a district court order that has a fraud case with you guys involved in it. He decided he was going to be badass and he was going to be bully, and he bullied the wrong judge. He didn't just bully me this time. She had an order. So let's just see if the same order he signed to put me in jail, I'm going to issue that before Judge Stacey Williams, but it only has to be pertaining to the property. It can't be this nonsense that they're filing, motion to dissolve, all that kind of nonsense. That's barred. Did I issue a court order? They violated. What's the consequence of that? The same consequence he didn't have the right to give me, I want them to get. So let's see if they get it. This is Serrano. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.